The Constitution is a stupid idea by a bunch of old dead guys who know nothing about how the world works now, and the only reason it's still around is because of stupid old guys like you. Is my niece right? Why don't we discuss that today at Joe's Cafe? Why should I be subject to a bunch of stupid old rules that don't matter anyway? The only reason we have them anymore is because of stupid old people like you. One day you'll be dead. Me and my friends will get rid of the Constitution and do it our way. Okay, sweetie, I can't cover all this in one video, but what I can talk about are stupid old guys and how to get rid of the Constitution. So the king had some friends in India, and the friends in India had a whole bunch of tea. And actually, the tea kind of sucked. But what the friends in India did is they went to the king and they said, hey, look, let us sell our tea to the colonies. The colonies will buy our tea. We'll all get rich off of selling the tea. And the only people who get hurt are the people in the colonies who have to drink crappy tea. But the people in the colonies didn't like that. Okay, so like I said, the tea sucked. So a bunch of guys got together and decided they were going to tell the king to take his tea and shove it. So 56 guys got together and they created the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence, I'm going to read part of that for you. I'm not reading the whole thing, just part of it. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds with another, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute a new government. And for the support of this declaration, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. The right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute a new government. In other words, what they're saying is, in the Declaration of Independence, they're telling the king that they're not accepting his government anymore, that they're done, that they're going to create their own government. All right? The second thing you have to understand is this was an act of treason. Every person who signed this, they could have all been hung for treason. But this declaration was an official document. It told the king, we are not going to be part of your world anymore. So now that we've covered that little bit of information, let's move on. Some people say the Constitution is a living document, that it should be able to change whenever you feel like it. A lot of people actually think the United States is a democracy, that the majority rules. So if the majority decide the Constitution needs to change, the Constitution should just be changed. Okay, so I'd like to take on the idea of a living document. Now, I assume by that, what you mean is that it could be changed at any time. And if it could be changed at any time, it should be as simple as Congress passing a law. Maybe you and your friends putting together a big old petition with a bunch of signatures on it. You send it to the White House and whammo, the Second Amendment's just gone, right? Now, I'd be making a mistake if I didn't mention there's a whole nother group who think the Constitution's fixed, that it can't be changed. The reality is both groups are kind of right and both groups are kind of wrong. I mean, the Constitution can be changed. If it couldn't be changed, women wouldn't vote, slaves wouldn't have freedom. So rather than fixed or living, I prefer the term static. The old dead guys wanted it to be able to change, but they really didn't want it to be able to change easily. So these stupid old guys knew that all, and I mean all forms of government, could get people in them who would try and take rights away from people. There's just a certain class of people who are drawn to power, and they like screwing with other people. So while the Constitution of the United States is created by the people, the laws in other countries, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, those rights are handed down by a ruling class. They're not regular people like you and I. They have position. They are the authority in the country. And when they hand down those rules, if they decide that they want to take them away, they just take them away. So in Sweden, an independent study shows that 95% of all rape is caused by foreign nationals. A policeman was overheard sharing the horrible things he'd seen on his job, and now he's at risk of losing his job. Sweden calls it a crime of opinion. In France, Brigitte Bardot was fined $12,000 for speaking out against immigration. Now, I believe this was after the 2015 attack where 130 people died, 90 of which died in a nightclub. The majority of those shot in the back of the head, execution style. So in England, a man named Nigel Pelham was sent to prison for sharing his views on Muslim integration on social media. Okay, he said somebody should throw a Muslim on a bonfire. I think that's horrific. And at the same time, it's something he said, not something he did. We literally saw an example of this just a few days ago in England. Brittany Pettibone and Martin Sellner went to England to interview Tommy Robinson. When they got to Heathrow Airport, they were taken into custody. They were put in a cell for 3 days. Brittany Pettibone's a U.S. citizen. Then they were put back on an airplane, sent back out of the country without being allowed to do their interview. About the same time, Lauren Southern, a reporter from Canada, tried to get into the United Kingdom. She was detained for 6 hours and questioned. Then she was ejected from the country for terrorist act. You or I may not agree with any of these people, particularly Nigel, but it doesn't matter because anything that you say is protected speech in the United States, and there's nothing anybody can do to take that away from you. Okay, so now let's talk about you and your friends taking over the country, and in order to do that, you have to understand what the Constitution is and how it works. So the beginning part of the Constitution is called the preamble, but the ending part is called the eschatological.
Eschatological.
Eschatological?
Eschatological.
Okay, I'm going to link to a description.
Eschatological.
Correct pronunciation.
Eschatological.
I'm going to put correct pronunciation in here so you can hear it.
Eschatological.
I've never seen this word before. I've never had to pronounce it before.
Eschatological.
And as you so aptly pointed out, I am just a stupid old guy, so I'm just doing the best I can.
Eschatological.
Okay, so at the very end of the Constitution is this section that basically says the people who wrote this are the people who wrote it, the people who signed it are the people who signed it, the person who witnessed it is the person who witnessed it, and that person who witnessed it witnessed it. It's called a notarization proper.
Eschatological.
Or the esca, whatever word that I used before.
Eschatological.
This sort of makes the whole thing official. And that's pretty much all you have to know about it. So we can discuss the preamble now. Okay, so a preamble is a clause at the beginning of a document, and I'm going to read the description right now. It may mention a historical reference, thought processes that led to the document. The purpose of a preamble is to set the stage for what is to come and will often define the people involved. Okay, so the preamble to the Constitution, wow, that's important. And I'm going to read that for you. The preamble to the Constitution reads, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Then it goes into a bunch of stuff, talks about the government, the different jobs, the president, the Congress, the Supreme Court, who does what job. I'm not going to cover most of that right now, but there's a few points worth mentioning. So unlike any other country on earth that I'm aware of, we, the people, designed a contract to create a government service. It's not there to rule us, it's there to serve us. It's there to provide us with resources. So try to imagine, like in my company, if I hire a payroll service. The payroll service is allowed to handle payroll. Are they allowed to handle my sales? No. Are they allowed to invoice my clients? No. In fact, they're probably not even allowed access to my client list. So when we created the government to serve us. Since this management service called government was busy taking care of administrative tasks necessary to run a country, it left us free to do whatever we want to do. Run businesses, work jobs, lay on the beach, sit in the bar and drink beers. Whatever you wanted to do, you were allowed to do because the government was there to take care of the day-to-day tasks of running the country and keeping the country going. So when the Constitution was created, the idea was to create a government that would provide us with services. It wasn't to create a king or whatever to rule over us. Their job was simply to provide services. You know those sci-fi movies where they create an artificial intelligence computer and the artificial intelligence computer decides it needs to take over and enslave all of humanity so it can protect us from ourselves? That's what a government in the United States that didn't follow the Constitution would be. So the United States government was given limited rights. We kept all the other rights for ourselves, the inalienable right. The word inalienable here, it means you can't take it away. There's nothing you can do to take those rights away. That according to this contract, those rights belong to us. They're not the government's to give. They're ours to keep. Okay, so let's go back to the preamble so I can explain how all this works. There's only one letter of the Constitution I want to focus on. That's the letter P. It's the letter P in the third word, we the people. The letter P is capitalized, and that's important because it makes the word people a proper noun. A common noun is a noun that just means an object. It could be cat, it could be paper, it could be truck. Those are common nouns. None of those are going to be capitalized. But in a contract, you capitalize the name of something and it becomes an entity that can be part of a contract. So for example, in my own business, I might make a contract that says Chuck Peavy, hereby referred to as developer, agrees to work with Joe's Cafe, hereby referred to as client. Now, in that case, the word developer has a capital D, the word client has a capital C. And all through the contract now, whenever the word client is addressed, it refers to Joe's Cafe. Whenever the word developer is addressed, it refers to me. Now, the exception to that case would be contextual. It could say, clients are allowed to use the website, or clients are allowed to come into the store. That second word, clients, simply means customers of Joe's Cafe, but that's easy to tell because of the way it was used. So all through that contract, whenever we refer to client, we mean Joe's Cafe. So all through the Constitution, whenever we refer to the word people, unless the context changes, the word people means we the people, meaning all the people of the United States of America. Okay, so that's about all the English class I can handle right now. I wanted to point out that because of that capital P, the Constitution is a binding contract. We the people created a contract, and you and I are part of those capital P people. So since you're one of the capital P people, you get all of the rights, all of the privileges, and all of the responsibilities that go along with being part of a constitutional republic. Okay, so if I know you, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, I didn't sign anything. Well, you kind of did. Your ancestors did. So here's how it works. A bunch of old dead guys got together before they were dead, and they put together this document. All those stupid old guys were official representatives of their states. The way they became official representatives of their states is they were voted on by the people in those states. Since those people were our ancestors, that means that our ancestors voted for them. That also means it's binding on you because you're one of the capital P people in the Constitution of we the people. Maybe what you're thinking is, well, my ancestors weren't here then, so it doesn't apply to me either. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true. If you're in this country illegally, that is true. In order to be a party to a contract, you have to actually sign that contract. See, illegal just means outside of the law. If you didn't sign the contract, or if you came into this country without agreeing to the terms of the Constitution, You are not in this country legally, so the Constitution doesn't apply to you. If you came here legally, or your ancestors did, so in the case of my niece, your great-great-grandmother Roberts came here from Germany, she had to sign a document, and she actually had to take an oath. So our ancestors who came here legally took an oath and signed a contract with our representational government. I'm going to read part of that oath right now. I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, so help me God. People who come here now from other countries and they take this oath, they understand what this oath means. We become citizens effectively when we reach the age of majority or 18 years old. A lot of us don't really know what that oath means. So your great-great-grandma Roberts migrated here. She took the oath. She became a citizen. She gets all those rights, all those privileges, all those responsibilities. And so do you, because she came here. Because our country was formed by a legal document, the Constitution of the United States, we're a constitutional republic, not a democracy. In a democracy, majority rules. In a republic, individual rights are protected no matter what. Because individual rights are important, you have the right and the opportunity to get out of the contract at any time. You go to our representational government, you sign some papers renouncing your citizenship, and you don't have to live by these rules anymore. You don't have to be a part of it. So what is the Constitution? It's the supreme law of the land. Not even the government is above the Constitution. The Constitution dictates what everybody in this country does. Remember when I told you this part of the oath of citizenship? I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, I took this same oath when I joined the Navy. Everybody who joins the military takes that oath. The president has to take that oath when he takes office. Nobody swears loyalty to anybody in the government. They swear loyalty specifically to the Constitution. Even though the president is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, he's still less than the Constitution. So look, sweetie, because you're part of we the people, you could change the Constitution if you got all the rest of we the people to go along with that. You have the right to badmouth the Constitution. You have the right to badmouth the stupid old dead guys who created the Constitution. You even have the right to badmouth stupid old guys like me who aren't dead yet. What you can't do is you can't change the Constitution without all of us agreeing to it, because it's a document by we the people. So I hope that helps. And I just want to thank you, sweetie. It's because of you, it's because of your friends and people like you, that people like me, people who believe in freedom, people who believe in taking responsibility for our lives, have taken the time to go back and study the Constitution and learn what it's about and what the rights and privileges are. Because of you and your friends, I've learned that these stupid old dead guys who put their lives on the line to create this country may not have been so stupid after all. Okay, so look, if you like this, maybe share it with some friends. If you own a business, maybe check out the Business Environmental Coalition. We push back against overreaching environmental regulations while teaching businesses how to be more eco-friendly in the process. Thanks for visiting Joe's Cafe.